Hello and welcome to another episode of the Transportation Exchange podcast presented by Rush Truck Centers of Canada. I'm your host, Jason Cuddy. And on today's episode, we welcome David Hillman, who is the VP of Integrated Technologies, and Jonathan Hutchison, who's the Senior Powertrain Launch Manager for Navistar. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
So we wanted to invite you guys on as we're kind of right into the heart of the S13 kind of launch, but not outside of launch, but like actually in the field and kind of got some real testimonial and some feedback from customers. So when we did this about a year and a half ago, it was the to be seen transmission, powertrain, engine, after treatment, and now it's here. So I thought we'd reintroduce it and kind of go through a high level of the components and kind of what the feedback's been. So why don't we start David, with what the overview of the powertrain and components are?
So the quick overview for those of you playing along at home, that the when we talk about the S13 integrated from International Truck, it's got three primary components that we developed as part of a clean sheet design, co-developed at the same time to all work together and in harmony. Breaking them down across the three, there's the S13 engine, which is a proprietary 13-liter engine that generates power that goes to the T14 transmission, which, as you'd expect, would have 14 forward gears. So that's the 14 and the T14. And capping it all off, probably the secret sauce of the whole recipe is our dual stage after treatment system. And so those are the three major components that we talk about when we talk about the S13 integrated.
Gotcha. And I think one of the things that's been, I guess, harped on and really had a big focus on is that this isn't just specifically a North American build. This is a global platform. Maybe talk to us about the global numbers pre, introduction to North American market.
Yeah, so some of your listeners may be surprised or interested to learn that International Trucks, which has a history going all the way back to Cyrus McCormick and the Mechanical Reaper from the 1830s, right? We've got a long heritage that we're very proud of. But as of July of 2021, we are a wholly owned member of the Volkswagen Group. So Volkswagen, already owned a company called Scania out of Sweden, MAN out of Germany, and they've had their own commercial vehicles division down in Brazil for many, many years. So those three brands that they already owned didn't have a footprint in North America. And so we became a very interesting and complementary piece to the puzzle. So Volkswagen acquired International Truck and IC Bus, our school bus division, and put us together with the rest of the commercial group under the umbrella brand of Traton. So that's a new name that some of your listeners may not be familiar with. So as part of the Traton group, we collectively, all four of the major brands within Traton, invested in a global powertrain. And so even though we began production in North America, we localized the S13 out of our Huntsville assembly plant in Huntsville, Alabama. And that production began late last year for North American customers. Scania was actually, I believe, the first to market about a year prior in late 2022. And so I'm sorry, in late 21. It was in late 21 that they began. We started on board late 23. Brazil is coming on board, I think, around now, and MAN will be launching their version in 2025. And so globally, right now, as we sit here in mid 2024, there are already, I think, over 80,000 of these powertrains out on the roadways with over 3 billion miles of customer travel. So not just we did a lot to validate and to test and to confirm the designs as a group, but we've got over 3 billion road miles in customer hands globally.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a significant, feedback to receive. And I guess based on that, what is some of the early feedback you're getting from customers, and what's the data showing with regards to, what you thought it would do versus what it's actually doing out in the field?
So, Jonathan, you probably have heard some of the feedback. Why don't you start, and I can add a few pieces that I know.
Yeah, so the early returns. So we got to keep in mind that duty cycles, say with Scania and operations, are quite different than here in the States. So it's hard to say, hey, yes, we have 3 billion miles, but then if you divide it by that many units, it could only be, 30,000 miles or kilometers per unit that are out there running around. So, but early returns on our duty cycles here in the States have been very, very high praised. A lot of, man, I can't believe how smooth this is shifting. I can't believe just how comfortable the seats are, or just the setup of the interior of the truck. So, a lot of good feedback on power. They feel that it has enough power. It's lightweight, so we can haul more payload. And getting into now our vocational, which what we call is our second launch into our HX 620, our setback axle. We're excited to bring those initial positive returns from on highway over to the work truck side of the business, because we're going to have a very, very big impact on, one of our three S's. If the listeners remember from, I think, the first time, is one of our S's is stellar performance. And we put that first when we talk vocational trucks. But we're also going to get that same fuel economy benefit on the vocational side as well, because like my friend David says, everyone buys diesel. So not only on highway, but also vocational. So seeing great feedback on performance and fuel economy.
Yeah. So kind of maybe even picking up on Jonathan's point, right? Strategically, when we embarked on this new design for the group, we wanted to hit three key areas for customer audiences to benefit from. We wanted to benefit the drivers behind the wheel. We want to benefit the technicians in the workshops wrenching on units, and finally deliver for the owners from a total cost of operation standpoint. And what's great is a lot of the feedback, and Jonathan touched on some of it, but the feedback's really aligning up around all of those, right? Technicians, just you tilt the hood and they go, hey, I can actually see the engine underneath there. It's not buried underneath all sorts of claptrap. And that's again intentionally, because we were able to design out a few problem areas. Notably, we removed the EGR cooler. This is designed not to operate with cooled EGR. We designed out the variable geometry turbo, which again the whole industry has been using for a long, long time, but most technicians would tell you it's not as robust perhaps as a simple waste-gated fixed geometry turbo, which is what the S13 employs. So we went back to some things that were maybe a bit more familiar. So the technicians love that aspect.
Yeah, and then to add on that third item that we removed was the diesel oxidation catalyst. So, which as some people understand and know, as a seventh injector. So right there, when we talk superior operating economy and gains in fuel efficiency, removing that DOC really enables us for our fuel economy benefits.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so lots of significant technical changes. And like I said, and the driver feedback's been great, owner feedback's been great. But I think the nice part from Navistar point of view and support level is, you're going from the theoretical to the practical, right? You had a concept in mind over the last handful of years. You're rolling out, country by country, brand by brand. But the support level on that, I mean, you guys have to support the dealership, the customers, and the driver. You have, boot camps, training. Maybe walk us through kind of the back end support that Navistar does to make sure this is a success.
Yeah, so I'll start with that, and then David can get in. I'll be the theoretical, and David can be the practical. So last year, about April timeframe in 2023, we rolled out an extensive boot camp training with over 700 of our dealer body folks, as well as about 200 to 300 Navistar representatives, to really a week-long training of understanding the product, the three areas: the S13 engine, T14 transmission, and then our dual stage after treatment. We brought them here to Lisle, a suburb of Chicago, for those that go Cubs. So brought them here for a week training. We took them to our Navistar Proving Grounds, which is our private track in New Carlisle, Indiana. And we had them drive it, experience it, learn about it, understand it, so then they could turn that into the practical when they talk with our listeners and our customers. And and our other dealer channels. So I'll let David then fill in the rest.
Yeah, I mean, I think where we're at right now is a really fascinating point in the process of launching something as monumental as this to the industry, right? We can PowerPoint the snot out of things with the best of them, right? But I always tell customers, look, I mean, part of it is our messaging and how we convey and talk to both, training the salespeople internally and training the sales channel for the dealers, but reaching out to customers, it really comes down to what I always preach is it, you know, getting your drivers behind the wheel of your vehicles, hauling your loads on your routes is really what it's all about. So we've done a lot to try and get uh, demo units in place of customers' hands, right? So international dealers around the U.S. and Canada are really being very proactive about getting units in inventory to be able to get customer experience, the proverbial butts in seats. That goes a lot further in my mind than anything I could show to a customer on a PowerPoint when they're experiencing it. The noise, the quiet noise level of the powertrain, the way the transmission shifts, the power it delivers. So those are things that we're finding customers, especially the drivers, really are very positively vocal about in terms of, hey, you told me this was going to be good and it exceeded my expectations. And that's a fun spot to be in.
Yeah, and to add on to that, right now it's pretty exciting. We have two 53-foot rolling billboards, trailers, which are our S13 Integrated Trailer Tour. So that's really the next phase we're in now, and we've already reached over about 1,000 customers that have visited our training trailers, which have cutaways of an S13 engine, T14 transmission, and the dual stage after treatment to educate not only our dealers but our customers as well. So those are rolling around. I believe they're actually heading up to Canada here pretty soon. So we're excited. So please come out and visit those. But that's my plug for the S13 trailer tour.
Yeah, it should be kind of cool. I know we're looking forward to seeing. I've seen pictures online through the social media channels, and kind of, we've seen a similar-ish type trailer come through during the EMV kind of launch and customer interaction. So obviously similar concept, but obviously different technology. So it'll be very interesting, very cool to see, cutaways and get a deep dive into the technology, and, kind of be able to look at and see what's changed. And I think to your point, when the customers see it, it's going to be very impressive to look at. So Jonathan, you touched on the HX20 that was launched in April. So that's kind of, when this first came out, obviously, or first announced, I guess, about a year and a half ago, Class 8, traditionally dominates the conversation for a lot of technology and everything we see. But, a good point you made is that this does also extremely well in a vocational setting. Maybe kind of walk us through. You talked a little bit about the lightweight and increased payload part, but maybe more specifically the transmission, because that might be where a lot of people kind of have some maybe questions or or concerns about how does this transmission perform within the vocational world that you're seeing so far.
Yeah, the transmission's exciting. The transmission is 14 gears, but it has a wider overall ratio than an 18-speed transmission. So we're able to do much more productivity with less. What's neat also about the gearbox is that it has up to 6 reverse speeds. So depending on your application, whether that's high rail or say a dump where you need to back down a couple miles, you're able to go at a safe speed, but also an increased speed versus 2 reverse speeds, which are standard on highway product. But other features that we're really proud of is one called paver mode, which with that feature, you're able to be pushed by a paver in neutral. And then when you're ready to roll away from the paver, you're able to just bump it into drive without hitting the service brake to engage the gear. So you're not going to ripple the asphalt, get kicked off the job site, and you're able to do your job much more efficiently and better. But one that we really like is precision maneuvering mode, which we call the turtle button. So that is an optional feature. So make sure your salesperson puts precision maneuvering mode on your vehicle. But that basically desensitizes the pedal, and it uses it as you would a clutch. So desensitizes the throttle pedal, and you use that as you would a clutch for low speed maneuvering, such as docks or just tight areas within a work site. So to make it more safe for the operator, for the people around on the job site. So it's special things like that, as well as, I had commented on the smooth shifting. Well, we have 29% steps in between gears. So that is what drives that smoothness of the T14 transmission.
Gotcha. And then another part that's unique to this build is the PTO. So I mean, traditionally, all the PTOs would be
Yes.
outsourced, through an upfitter or somewhere else, but we're keeping this in house. Maybe walk us through the thought process on that.
Yeah, so we have our own proprietary PTOs that are ordered through our dealers and through our parts network. But we made the decision that we were going to make PTOs adapters standard for the second life of vehicles. But what's neat about this is that we're using our own proprietary PTOs that we assemble in Huntsville, and then they're filled up with the transmission and then shipped off. These are not aftermarket. So what that really drives is first time quality, as well as that matches the transmission warranty for vocational. So say a typical off the shelf third party adapter PTO may only be 6 months or a year. Depending on your axle configurations, most of ours are going to carry a 3-year warranty with that T14 transmission. So that just is another value add and confidence in our product and first time quality.
Yeah, that's a good point. The warranty is a great part of it.
Yeah, and it kind of, I think we were also approaching it with the customer in mind, right? If you're the owner, for the longest time, the industry and international truck included had always viewed PTOs as something that someone else did. But by bringing them in part of our factory, not only does it help with the quality and to be able to offer the warranty and coverage that Jonathan mentioned, but it cuts down on installation time. It's one less variable for an owner to have to contend with, right? If if there's an issue with the PTO, which we wouldn't expect, right? They know they can come back to us, and we've got full warranty coverage, and it's all part of what they're getting from us as a factory build. So it really does help them with a bit of peace of mind as well.
Gotcha.
2025.
Excellent. And I guess carrying on beyond 24 to 27, the engine technology carryovers, continuing with the tools, the trainings, parts, driver experience, are just going to keep fine tuning and honing this thing as it makes its way out into the field.
Yeah, Jason. I mean, there's probably perhaps if we pass the test on this time, we may earn the right to do another podcast with you in the future. But for your audience, thinking ahead to 2027, I know it doesn't feel like it's right around the corner, but from a design and manufacturing and testing and validation, it's on top of us today. The industry is starting to communicate. You're hearing from our peers and some of the suppliers around what's coming ahead in terms of the 2027 emissions and greenhouse gas regulations. For your audience, I want them to know that when we took our clean sheet design approach way back in 2016, 17, right? 10 years out, we were package protecting. We were designing with those regs in mind. We didn't know exactly where the regs were going to fall. We just knew that they were going to be less than they were going to be in 2024 when we launched it. So we planned for that. We designed with that in mind, and the net result is when we're ready to announce, which we're not ready today, but you will see fundamentally the base design that we have today carry forward. There is not going to be a lot of change and tear up. So yes, so the driver experience is fundamentally going to carry forward. The great experience that technicians have with being able to wrench on these things, that'll carry forward. The ownership experience that the owners have in terms of the cost of ownership should carry forward in a very strong way, right? Lots to be done, right? We're not offering our 2027 engines today, But the engines that you would buy from an international truck dealer today are going to look very familiar if you would buy the same product in 2027, 28, 29 timeframe.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I think that's comforting news for a lot of people listening. It's technology's changed so fast, and that 27 EPA guideline is huge. So knowing that there's not going to be a monumental change in the architecture of what you guys have rolled out, I think might put some people at ease with regards to just what's coming down the pipe.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent. Well, hey, look, lots to look forward to in the coming years, obviously, but obviously great things right now for people to dive in and enjoy great, customer feedback, driver feedback. I know from people who've done, the drives you mentioned and the proving grounds, wonderful things to say as far as the experience, specifically that transmission. I don't think have driven anything as smooth, as what's in there. So the feedback has been positive. It's nice to see it gaining momentum. And we look forward to kind of seeing the impact it has on the industry as we go forward. So it's great, and I appreciate you sharing that information with us today.
Absolutely, yeah, we're truly excited, right? Um, you know, Jonathan and I just happen to represent thousands of our compatriots here at International Truck, right? And globally, right? The Trayton Group collectively invested um, lots of money, lots of resources, lots of human capital. Um, and the good news is we had our thinking caps on. We went about this the right way. So as a group, that's one of the things to me that's most exciting. I've been with International over 25 years, and being able to leverage the global resources that frankly an outfit like Volkswagen can help bring to bear is really exciting, right? So being able to see what we've been able to do as an independent company for a long, long time, but now take it up several notches, several levels up in terms of what we're able to bring from a quality perspective, from a performance perspective, from an ownership benefit perspective. We're really excited about how the S13 is going to positively impact the marketplace.
Excellent. No, well said. That's a good point. Just the size of the people and the money behind this now and going forward, I think is a testament to what's out in the field right now. So it's nice to see, and it's well stated.
Thank you.
Hey, well, that concludes today's episode. I do want to thank David and Jonathan from Navistar for joining us. And to catch up on past episodes, check out the transportationexchangepodcast.ca. Until next time, thanks for listening.